If you're a new Bronco owner, congratulations, because you've got yourself one of the most capable off-road vehicles available on the market today. I've had my Bronco Raptor for almost a year now, and over that time, I've had the opportunity to drive on many different types of trails in all different kinds of environments. And I got a really good sense of what the Bronco is capable of, but I've also made my fair share of mistakes out there on the trail. Now, of course, there's no such thing as the perfect off-road vehicle, and the Bronco's got its fair share of weaknesses, just like any other. But there are a few things you can do as a driver of a new Bronco to make sure that your next trail adventure is a successful one. Hey guys, Matt McAdam here, aka Desert Chief, only on Driving Lines Chasing Dust, and on today's episode, I'm going over the 5 biggest mistakes that new Bronco owners make while out on the trail. All right, so starting us off with number 1 is forgetting to turn off advanced track, and this is one that I make almost every time I go off-road. Now, advanced track works by reading the speeds of each wheel individually, and when it notices one spinning faster or slower than the others, it makes corrections to the throttle and the brake to make sure that they're all moving at the same rate. This is great for when you're on the pavement because it makes things really safe, but when you're on the dirt, it can mean that your throttle gets cut out and it can have unintended consequences for you out on the trail. Now on to mistake number 2, avoiding rocks instead of driving over them. Now this is one I had to learn the hard way, guys. Oftentimes there are rocks on the trail that are taller than your ground clearance, and what happens is you end up getting hung up on your rear differential, your front control arms, some of your skid plates, or even your gas tank, and you don't want to get caught on any of those components because you may damage them or it may lead to you getting stuck for a while. However, if you've got good off-road tires like the Recon grapplers I have on my Raptor, you'll be able to drive up and over those rocks and avoid getting any of that stuff hung up underneath the vehicle. Now, of course, this is going to depend on how big your tires are and how big those rocks are. On many trails, you'll be able to drive up and over those rocks, letting your suspension do all the work rather than trying to avoid them and getting hung up somewhere. Now, mistake number 3 is not using your rear locker when you should be. Most people know that if you want to drive in the rocks, you're going to need your rear locker to get you as much traction up and over those obstacles. But what a lot of people don't realize is when you're driving fast or you're in loose sand or dirt or silt or anything like that, running your rear locker will actually keep the vehicle more stable and safer. Now, let's say you forgot to turn your rear locker on and you want to go do some donuts out in some loose dirt. Now, you'll probably be fine, but your donuts won't be as good because you're going to have your inside tire spinning much faster and your outside tire is going to be spinning slower. And as they're going at different speeds, you're not going to get that rotation that you want. But the most important reason for that is because as you are actually sliding around and rotating the rear end or doing anything like that while you're driving down a trail, what happens is that outside tire that's spinning slower is actually going to be building up dirt along the side of it. This happened to me one time when I was out in Johnson Valley shooting some videos. I was doing some donuts. I'd forgotten to turn my rear locker on, didn't really think anything of it, and nothing was weird until I almost tipped the truck all the way over onto its side. I was spinning around in a circle. I had only my inside wheel spinning super fast. The outside one was just kind of going along for the ride. What I didn't know was happening was the dirt piling up on the sidewall of the tire. And as that happened, it got to a point where both of the passenger side tires lifted up off the ground and I had to counter steer just to get it to right back again. That bicycle moment is not fun, it's terrifying, but if I had my rear locker on, both of those tires would have been spinning at the same rate and thus it would have just kept rotating like that. Now this is useful if you're in 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, it doesn't matter if you're going fast in the dirt or you're doing stunts and things like that. Just put your rear locker on because that's going to help the truck rotate instead of sending the body over the way that it did for me. Now on to mistake number 4 is relying too much on your front locker. Now this one isn't really common knowledge because there aren't a lot of production vehicles that come from the factory with a rear locker and a front locker, but the Jeep guys can confirm this. When you have your front locker engaged and both of those tires are spinning at the same rate, it puts a lot of stress on all the components of your front axle. That includes your steering, it includes your brakes, it includes your CV axles. All of that stuff is under a lot of pressure when you're trying to get your vehicle up and over an obstacle and one tire is bound up more than the other. We all know about the woes of the Bronco steering components and how many people have broken them after running a bigger tire in a lift. But one thing you can do to really help your chances of not breaking stuff is making sure you only use your front locker when it is absolutely necessary. Now for me personally, the only time I would use a front locker is when I have tried everything else. Rear locker on, 4 low, holding the brake and the gas at the same time, trying to get some help from a spotter. If none of that stuff is working and I have one tire in the front spinning faster than the other, that's the only time I'll use a front locker. And another pro tip, don't try to turn very much when you have your locker on. You want to make sure that you have your direction set, you turn your locker on, get up and over whatever you're going, whether you're turned or you're straight, And then once you're out of it, turn that locker off. It's gonna really help save the front end of your vehicle. And last but not least, number 5 on our list of the biggest mistakes that Bronco owners make on the trail is splashing water. Now trust me guys, I'm not trying to be a buzzkill here. I know the thrill of seeing a giant puddle in front of you and wanting to just hammer the throttle through it and make this ginormous wave coming from both sides of your truck. It makes for awesome photos, even better slow motion videos, but I will say it comes with a very huge risk. The one thing a lot of people don't think about is since your tire is entering that water at speed and it's throwing that big wave outside of the vehicle, that same wave is being thrown towards the inside of your vehicle on the inside of your tire. So a lot of people don't think about that because you don't really see it as you enter a puddle on a video or a photo. However, that wave is still there and all that water is being displaced towards your engine bay. Now having all of that water aimed directly at your engine can mean a lot of trouble, and for some people it can mean hydrolocking and blowing up their motor. But for the Bronco, the most common problems I've seen by doing this is your alternator going out or having your electronics in some way or form jetting out on you and leaving you stranded. Now the location on the alternator on the Bronco means that it's very susceptible to getting wet, and sometimes that can mean it will fail after a while, or sometimes it fails right on the spot. Especially if you've got a lot of silt and dirt going in there, it's not what you want on your motor. So you want to avoid getting all that water on your engine bay, save yourself the hassle of having to get towed out somewhere or having to replace your alternator altogether. The best way to avoid this is just to drive slow through those puddles and keep that wake down to as much as you can, and that will really help keep your alternator and your electrical system in tip-top shape and get you guys home safe. All right guys, just a quick recap of some of the solutions that I went over in this video. Number 1, turn advanced track completely off before you hit the trail. Number 2, drive over the rocks instead of avoiding them. Number 3, if you want to get sideways, engage your rear locker. Number 4, only use your front locker when absolutely necessary and try not to steer while it's on. And number 5, drive slowly through those puddles to keep your electrical system nice and dry. Now, whether you're brand new to Broncos and off-roading as a whole, or you've got some dirt miles under your belt, I hope this video helps you guys avoid some of the most common mistakes that I and other Bronco owners have made. But that's gonna do it for us today, you guys. Thanks for watching. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button because I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos with my Bronco out on the trail. Once again, you guys, I'm Matt McAdam, AKA Desert Chief, only on Driving Lines Chasing Dust. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching Driving Line. If you guys like this video, consider subscribing to our channel so you'll never miss any of the content we create here. Whether you're into trucks, Jeeps, imports, domestic vehicles, or anything in between, we are here to fuel your passion. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you guys next time.